The feds are coming. Send in the feds. Feds come to Seattle to set up command center for downtown homelessness. I didn't know that we needed a command center, but we're getting one. We're going to have one sent here by HUD. Yeah, apparently we need this. Let's jump on in and let's see if we do. Contractors with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, convened at the city's Emergency Operations Center last week to begin setting up a formal housing command center for addressing homelessness in downtown Seattle, PubliCola has learned. The King County Regional Homelessness Authority requested HUD's help setting up the command center because they couldn't do it themselves, even though they've got a budget of $100 and something million, and homelessness just keeps getting worse. And the mayor has come right out and publicly said, yeah, I don't want to kick them any more money to their budget. Yeah, they're not effective. No, we shouldn't do that. And setting up the command center, which agency CEO Marc Dones touted during the announcement of a public-private partnership called Partnership for Zero. That's a terrible name. Partnership for Zero earlier this year. Zero what? Partnership for Zero? These names are just the name itself makes me think, this is a waste of time. HUD, which funds housing through housing vouchers and other programs, has been meeting quietly with officials from the King County Regional Homeless Authority, King County's Department of Community and Human Services, Mayor Bruce Harrell's office, and officials from the city's Human Services Department over the past 2 weeks. The goal, according to the King County Regional Homeless Authority spokesperson Ann Martins, is to set up an incident response system. We need to reimagine, we need to rethink, we need to reprogram, we need to reconfigure our thoughts on planning what to do with the homelessness situation. Treating it like an emergent crisis rather than a perpetual, unchanging problem. All right. Okay. All right. I get it. So it's an emergent crisis. We got a crisis on our hands. Haven't we been in a crisis since 2015 here in Seattle? I believe we have. I believe it was declared an emergency crisis. Okay. But now we're going to go from an emergent crisis, emergency, versus, a real emergency. I mean, we've got a problem on our hands, which anybody who walks through any of these communities where homelessness has just been allowed to explode understands. And that Mayor Harrell has been trying to reel back in. And now he's got to deal with these jokers coming up with plans, bringing in HUD. Where is this all going? That's a really good question. So we're going to deal with it as an emergent crisis rather than a perpetual, unchanging problem. Okay. All right. What are you going to do? What are you actually going to do here? Really, what are you going to do? Oh, we're going to treat it like a perpetual, we're not going to treat it anymore like a perpetual, unchanging problem. All right. Okay. I'm down with that. What does that mean? That's where this does seem like just a bunch of word soup, right? Word soup. If you say enough words, it sounds good. Is it effective? Not really sure, but people with less intellect will buy off in it and they're, oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it's an emergent crisis rather than a perpetual, unchanging problem now. So therefore it's got to be better. We're going to spend 10 times as much, but now we've got it covered because it's an emergent crisis. That's what we're doing. We've heard from our neighbors that we need to treat this emergency like an emergency. So that's exactly what we're doing, Martin said. Okay. That would make Kamala Harris proud, wouldn't it? We've heard from our neighbors that we need to treat this emergency like an emergency, so that's exactly what we're doing. All right? How? What exactly when are you going to start throwing some of these people in either jail and or treatment or psych wards? When are you going to start doing that? Yeah, because that's what we need to have happen. That's where this is headed. Anything short of that, trying to provide housing for people that are mentally not stable or on drugs or both, that's not going to work out. Everybody knows it. Housing first. Yeah, good luck with that. We've heard from our neighbors that the difference isn't just semantic. Okay, so now they've realized that the differences are just semantic, but they're going to claim that they're not. The difference isn't just semantic. An incident command system is a management structure that can really be used to organize any big event, from planning a wedding to planning for emergency shelter during heat and smoke, Curry Mayer, the director of the city's Office of Emergency Management, explained. All right, let's analyze that. To organize any big event, from planning a wedding. Okay, you got an incident command system for planning a wedding. All right. Okay. For planning for emergency shelter during heat and smoke. Yes, but in heat and smoke, people want to get away from that. They've got a goal of where they want to go. And the folks that are homeless in Seattle, they don't want to go into shelters. And you know how we know this? Because every time we do a sweep, they're asked if they'd like to go into shelter. And you know what the vast majority of them say? No, don't like the rules. Can't bring my dog. Can't, all these things they can't do. Oh, I can't do drugs in there. I can't do prostitution in there. So no, I don't want to go. Oh, I've got a curfew. Hell no, we're not going there. It's dangerous in there. You got other homeless people in there. Those people are dangerous. No, I don't want to go there. That's how we know that these folks don't want to go into shelters. So you provide them all the housing in the world. Where's that going to go? Nowhere. Need to get them off the drugs. Need to get them off the hooch. Need to get them mental help if that's their deal, or if it's a combination. Yeah, good luck with that, right? In practice, this means setting up several teams to deal with operations, logistics, planning, and administration, all reporting to a command team that runs the show and gets information out to the public and press. So we're doing a lot of planning. That's what we're doing here. We're reimagining, we're rethinking, we're engaging in planning, we're having talks, we're going to look for some more money. I mean, this is about the money, right? Why else would they bring in HUD? HUD's federal. It's federal dollars. We're taking best practices learned from years of emergency housing response during disasters like hurricanes and other major displacements, and applying those proven practices to help people experiencing homelessness move inside. If it were only that simple. So I go to the issue of people that have just experienced a hurricane and just had their home destroyed, or any other natural disaster. Those people literally want to go into shelter. The folks that are homeless in Seattle right now, they don't want to go into shelter. Enormous difference. And that is not a matter of semantics, right? And so then you're going to apply those proven practices to help people experiencing homelessness move inside. They don't want to move inside. That's the bottom line. So what do you do there? Oh, geez. Yeah. Well, I guess we need another committee to decide what to do if the proven practices to help people experiencing homelessness move inside don't work out, because they're kind of destined to fail from the get-go, right? They're destined. This is all destined to fail. In a statement, a spokesperson for HUD's regional office said that although the technical assistance does not come with any new funding for housing or services, it helps communities apply the lessons learned from other communities, including those that used a similar structure to assist people experiencing homelessness following major disasters. The duration of the technical assistance will depend on the circumstances on the ground, but it will likely last a few months. So you're going to put together a system that's going to operate for a few months, and then we're going to have said system up and running and just getting people where they need to go. This sounds like a scam. This sounds like a money-grubbing scam to me. The team is already meeting daily to share updates on each other's progress and challenges. So progress and challenges on talking about planning the future of how to get people into housing that people don't want to go into to begin with, because they'd rather live on the street and do their thing, which is typically illegal. And they're going to do this in the same way that local agencies meet daily during short-term emergencies, like the snowstorm that shut down transportation around the city last year and left thousands of unsheltered people out in sub-freezing temperatures for days. Okay, that's a natural disaster. People actually do want to get inside when that happens. The homelessness issue? Those folks don't want to go inside. They want to talk about it. And when reporters come up to them, they want to talk about, yeah, I love to get inside. Why wouldn't I? Well, because you still want to live on the street, because that's where you can sell the stolen goods. You can still steal them. You can shoot up drugs. You can, have prostitution running around. You don't have to pick up anything. There's no curfews. It's, all on your own time frame. There's none of that. None of this, hampering structure that is going to come with this. But it just feels like that has been completely put by the wayside. Hey, let's get into these meetings. Let's get into these committees. This approach is a dramatic departure from the traditional approach to homelessness, which is divided into silos such as encampment removals, emergency response, shelters, and housing. How does it actually work? The logistics team, for example, might be in charge of figuring out ways to make permanent housing accessible more quickly. These folks don't want permanent housing. They want it, but they want it on their own terms, like it's a hotel room where they can come and go as they please. Anything else, these folks aren't going to be able to live within said structure. They're just not. They're on drugs, or they've got mental issues, or a combination of both. Such as waiving eligibility requirements, HUD rules require people to be homeless for at least a year before they're eligible for a voucher. What's up with that? You've only been homeless for 11 months. Yeah, you got to wait out that last 12th month and then come on back there and we'll get you set up. There are people that work the legit angles of this. They're just so few and far between. We're offering incentives to landlords to move people into apartments quickly. Hey, you got a massive shortage of housing here in Seattle. I'm a real estate broker. I'm a real estate appraiser. I look at those numbers. You can't offer any incentive to a landlord that's going to move people into apartments quickly. There is none. Landlords don't want homeless people in their buildings because they wreck them and then they have to rebuild them. And they also can't rent out to normal tenants because no normal tenant wants to be next door or underneath or below anybody that's homeless. Just a hard no-go. That's a no-go. This effort will further improve coordination and speed up action with permanent housing as the top priority, Martin said. Okay. Yeah. All right. It sounds like you've reimagined and rethought a lot here. It's just, I don't think it will have any real impact. This will be just yet another thing that kind of comes and goes. And why do we need to ask HUD to come in? Can't you figure out what HUD does in these situations on your own? I mean, you've got how many hundreds of millions in your budget, 100-something million in your budget. You can't figure out how to do this on your own. You can't Google it. You need HUD to come in and show you what to hold your hand. They're not going to give you any money, but are you hoping they will? I mean, maybe. Although the command center doesn't come with additional funds for housing, multiple people familiar with the effort expressed hope that it could open the door to additional HUD funds in the future. In 2020, a McKinsey report estimated it would cost as much as $1 billion a year to fully address homelessness in King County, more than 8 times the King County Regional Homeless Association's current annual budget. Mayor Bruce Harrell, whose office directed questions to the King County Regional Homeless Authority, Housing Whatever, has indicated that he has little interest in contributing tens of millions more to the King County Regional Homeless Authority's budget as the authority has requested. So the Office of Emergency Management won't be directly participating in the command center's operations, but they will provide meeting space in a press room for regular briefings. Oh, thank God they've got a press room for regular briefings. And there's some meeting space, because without that, I mean, there's just no commercial space across the city where they could figure that out. Every commercial space has that. That is what it is. It's meeting space, and you got a room. It's a press room. It's just a big room, right? Because the EOC's operations are sensitive, the question of access has been the subject of some internal debate. This is all just a bunch of debate that's going nowhere. The building where the King County Regional Homeless Authority is located, a former jail that also houses the county's sobering center, and the Seattle Municipal Tower across the street from City Hall, they were both reportedly considered but rejected in favor of the high-tech, visually appealing emergency hub. It's way fancier. It's modern. It's way fancier. Who doesn't want to go there? But isn't this about working on homelessness instead of the cool building that you're posted up with HUD, who isn't contributing anything to the budget, but will give you some ideas on something about emergency systems? Like when you're bringing people in out of the storm or a hurricane or flooding? Yeah, this just doesn't seem like this makes any sense at all. That's why I'm doing this podcast, because that's what we do here. It's called News for Reasonable People. This just doesn't seem reasonable. We've already had all the studies. We've already had that. We've been working on that for years. We've been in an emergency mode for years. We need somebody to come in and start dropping the hammer, whatever that is. We need somebody to come in and really sweep house and get people where they need to go. Unfortunately, you need not housing for that, but you need jails. Yeah, you need some more jail space. You need mental institutions for those who have problems. And we know there's no space because we've got people being paid thousands of dollars who are having their due process violated because they've been accused of a crime, and we can't get them into a mental institution to figure out if they're, legal to stand trial for the atrocities they've committed. We're literally paying them $250 a day. Yeah. So we don't have the mental institutions. We don't have the facilities to get people sober on this scale, because you're talking about how many thousand people you're going to put through detox, how many thousand people you're going to put through treatment. And that's if they volunteer for it. None of those folks are even taking shelter when a sweep is being done. So why all of a sudden, if you reimagine and come up with a game plan with the Office of Emergency Management, why would that change? I'm not really sure. I'm going to have to get back to you with my own question, because this simply isn't reasonable. All right. That's it for me. Thanks so much for being here. We'll catch up soon. Talk then. Bye for now.